Hi everyone, I'm Rem Pambaya and I'll be doing the crafts with you this week. Now, we are going to bring some of the outdoors indoors for our craft. So the next time you're outside in your yard or taking a walk, you're going to want to pick up some leaves, and you want leaves of a bunch of different sizes, some smaller ones, some bigger ones. We're going to be doing a couple different craft activities with them. Just make sure when you're picking leaves that they're either from your yard or in a public park. We don't want to be picking leaves from our neighbors' gardens. And also make sure before you pick a leaf, there are certain leaves out there that are poisonous and can cause rashes. So if you're not quite sure, make sure you ask a parent or maybe just leave those ones and pick something else. Once you have all those leaves collected, go ahead and bring them inside and we'll get started with a couple of craft ideas. Okay, the first craft we're going to make with our leaves are fossil imprints in homemade clay. The supplies you will need are a cup of white flour, 1/4 cup of iodized salt, 1/4 cup plus 3 tablespoons of warm water. You're also going to need a big bowl and a wooden spoon to mix everything. You'll need a spatula, either a rolling pin, or if you don't have a rolling pin, you can use something like an empty water bottle. If you have a cookie cutter or another shape you can use to cut them out later, or in this case, I'm going to use the inside of a cup. And you'll also need a paper plate to let it dry on. And then after that, you'll just need our leaves. I put down some parchment paper. You can also put down some wax paper as your work surface to make things a little bit easier. So the first thing we're going to do to make our clay, so we're going to take our bowl and dump in our 1 cup of flour. The next thing we're going to do is add our 4th cup of salt. Now, take your wooden spoon and mix those 2 ingredients together. Once they're all combined, go ahead and pour your water over it. Start mixing with your wooden spoon. And it's not going to look like clay at first. It's going to take a lot of mixing. You can see that mine sort of looks like dry dough. And then when it all starts to combine, you can go ahead, this is the fun part, you get to put your fingers and your hands in and start kneading it and mixing it together. Don't worry about it being too dry. The clay should start to come together as you mix it. You can just grab a big handful, squeeze it together, and then grab some more handful and squeeze it. You want to make sure all of the ingredients get combined together. All of them there. Resist the temptation to add more water, because if your clay is too soft, it will take too long to dry. And we are trying to make some fossils with our leaves. So you're going to want to knead the clay for about 10 minutes. So go ahead and do that, and when it's all in a firm ball, we will move on to the next step. Once your clay is formed, it's time to start making your fossils. So what you're going to do first is roll your clay into one giant ball and then lightly press it so 2 sides are flat, because we want it to sit flat on our parchment paper and then have a flat surface for when we put the leaf on top. Now go ahead and pick one of the leaves you collected to make your imprint. Leaves that have veins on them tend to work better because you can see the impressions, but you can try anything, and the great thing about this is if one of them doesn't work out, you can just mash it up again and then try something different. So go ahead and place your leaf on top of your clay ball, nice and flat, and then using your rolling pin or whatever else you have, I'm going to use my water bottle, go ahead and press down on your leaf on top of the clay. Slowly roll it. You want the clay to be anywhere from 1/4 inch thick. so that it keeps its shape, but it's not too thin that we can't pick it up. So you don't want it much thinner than that. So once you have it rolled out, go ahead and carefully lift up your leaf, and you should have an imprint, just like that. So when you're happy with what your leaf looks like, you can leave it like this. You can cut around the edges, or you can take your cookie cutter or your cup, place it over your pattern, press down, and then you have a nice even circle. Kind of looks like a little cookie. Sometimes some of the edges will be sharp, so a tip you can do is take some water on your fingertips and smooth down the edges. Be careful not to touch the top of it too much because we don't want to smooth out the design that we just put there. So once you have your edges nice and smooth, you can go ahead and take something like a pencil or a straw. I'm going to use the end of my paintbrush, and I'm going to put a hole in the top of my clay. Smooth out the bottom a little bit here. Make sure it pokes all the way through. That way, once it is dry, I can put some yarn or ribbon through it, and I can have a pendant. A couple other examples. I made this one with the ivy leaf. You can see the stem. This one I never cut out. You can leave it to dry, make it look like a real fossil. Or you can use the edges of a spatula to cut a square. The spatula can also be used if your clay sticks too much to your surface. You can use it to scoop it up gently. Now what we're going to do with these is put them on our paper plate, and then be patient because they will take some time to dry. The thicker they are, the longer they're going to take. Go ahead and leave them out for up to a week at a time. And once they're dry, you can go ahead and either color on them with marker, you can use paints and paint them in, or you can use them just as they are. Okay, the second craft that we're going to make with our leaves are leaf imprints, but this time with paint. And we're going to put them and make them into cards. So for this, you are going to need some of your leaves, some construction paper, some paint on a paper plate, a paintbrush, a cup of water to put your brush into if you want to clean it off or keep it from drying out. And that's about it. Make sure you have something on your surface so you don't get paint on your table, but we are going to go ahead and get started. So what you're going to need is a leaf. I was practicing earlier, so my leaves are covered in paint, but this leaf, we're going to use the underside. I found that using it, the veins show a little bit better, and so you can get a really nice imprint. So not the top of the leaf, but the bottom. So you're going to start by taking some of your paint, putting a nice even coat on the bottom. You don't want it too thick because you want to see the veins, but you also don't want it too thin so it doesn't print anything. You're going to take your leaf, put the paint side down on the piece of paper, and press. You want to make sure the leaf doesn't shift on the paper, but you can press down and slowly move your finger. And then go ahead and grab the stem, peel it off, and you'll have your leaf. Now, sometimes there's enough paint left on the back that you can go ahead and do another imprint without adding more paint. So just put it on a different section of the card, press down again, and then lift up, and you have the imprint. Some of the clay on that. You can always do different colors, different leaf types. Sometimes the leaves get a little soggy from being painted so much, so it might help to pick a new leaf and use the back of that. Pick out some colors. How about, since they're leaves, let's do some green. You can try multiple colors on the same leaf. It is really up to you. So go ahead, put it on the card, dab it, press it down, lift up, and you will have your impression. I added my words to the card before I started, but you can always wait until after your leaf prints dry and then add the words to the front of the card. This one says happy birthday. This one says keep growing. You can always just use a piece of plain computer paper and make your leaf prints on that and try out different things. You can use grass, you can try some flowers. This is really just about getting some nature and making some art out of it. Do one more. That one has multiple colors. There you go. There are your leaf prints. Okay, our third and final leaf project is going to be pressing leaves. So all you'll need for this, 2 pieces of parchment paper, some thick, heavy books, and the leaves that you want to press. Now, you want to make sure that the leaves you choose to press don't have any type of tears or holes from bugs eating them or any other kind of imperfections, because as they dry, they can start to lose their shape or turn to brown. What we're really looking for is to preserve some of that beautiful color. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a thick book as your base. Go ahead and place 1 sheet of parchment paper on top of that. Take the leaf that you want to press, or you can press multiple leaves. I'm just going to do this one. Do not use the leaves that you had painted because they are wet and they're sticky and they're not going to press very well. So go ahead and lay them flat. Place the other piece of parchment paper on top so that your leaf is sandwiched in the middle. And then you are going to stack books on top. That's 1 book, 2 books, 3 heavy books on top. The idea is that as the books press down and the leaf starts to dry out, it'll maintain its shape and some of its color. Go ahead and set your stack of books carefully aside, and you're going to wait possibly up to a week to 10 days for your leaves to dry out. Then once they're dried out, you're going to have your saved leaves. You can also do this with flowers. Flat flowers work best, but you can try with anything that you find. And then once those are nice and dry, you can use some Elmer's glue or Mod Podge. You can glue them down to a canvas or a card or a piece of paper, or you can just save them for a really cool little souvenir.